Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. Today, we're going to kind of tackle something I think a lot of people are thinking about, which is how faith and ambition actually work together. You know, you've sent in some articles, some notes, even a sermon transcript. So this is clearly something you've been thinking about.
Yeah, it's a big question.
Yeah.
And I think, you know...
A question that resonates with a lot of people, I think.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And I think it's because we get these kind of conflicting messages. Like, on the one hand, you know, we're told to chase our dreams, go after what we want in life.
Right.
But then there's this idea that faith means, you know, being humble. Maybe even downplaying our ambition a little bit.
Yeah, like those two things are at odds.
Yeah, exactly. Like, are we supposed to just sort of sit back and wait for God to just hand us our purpose on the silver platter?
Right, exactly. And one of the sources actually called it the myth of passive purpose.
Ooh, I like that.
You know, that we're just kind of sitting around waiting for a lightning bolt. Yeah, and it can be paralyzing. What if the lightning bolt never comes?
Right, and what I thought was really interesting in a lot of these sources is this emphasis on our agency, our ability to actually do something.
Like, we're not just puppets.
Right, not just puppets.
We actually get to, you know, take action.
Yeah, to act on our faith.
So not just sitting around waiting for a sign.
Exactly.
Got it.
There's a quote here that I really liked. It said, "Faith isn't about waiting for God to move. It's about moving with God."
Ooh, that's good.
Right.
So where does ambition fit into all of this?
That's where I think it's really, really interesting.
Okay.
A lot of the sources were saying that ambition, when it's aligned with our faith, can actually become a tool for fulfilling our purpose.
A tool.
A tool.
Okay, kind of like that.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool way to think about it.
Yeah.
One of the articles even compared it to a muscle.
Ooh.
That it needs to be trained, it needs to be directed, and it can be used for good.
Okay, so how do we train our ambition to be in line with our faith?
I think first we have to define what we even mean by purpose.
Oh.
Because so often I think we can get that confused with just having a successful career. But I think all of these sources pointed to something much bigger.
So it's not just about climbing the corporate ladder or, you know, building this booming business.
Right, it's not just about worldly success.
Okay.
There was a quote here that really resonated with me. It said, "Your purpose is the unique intersection of your God-given gifts, your passions, and the needs of the world around you."
Whoa. Okay, that's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, it is.
But I like it.
So essentially, you know, I think what it's saying is that we're all uniquely equipped to make a difference.
Okay.
And that difference might look different for everybody.
So for some people, it might involve, you know, a more traditional career path.
Totally.
For other people, it might be through their family or their community involvement or even their creative pursuits, you know?
Exactly.
It's not one size fits all.
It's not one size fits all. And I think the key is that how we do it and why we do it is just as important as what we do.
Okay, so it's not just about what we do, it's about how we do it and why we're doing it.
Exactly.
And that's where faith comes in.
Yes, it provides that framework for our ambition, helping us to discern, you know, which paths are right for us.
Okay.
And how to navigate those paths with integrity and compassion.
So faith kind of acts as a filter for our ambitions, making sure we're chasing after the right things for the right reasons.
That's a great way to put it.
I like that.
Now, one of the sources actually shared a really compelling story about this.
Oh, story time. I love a good story.
Right.
Hit me.
Well, this particular story was about a woman named Sarah.
Okay.
She was an incredibly talented artist, but she had always kind of suppressed that part of herself.
Oh.
Because she felt like it wasn't practical.
I've been there.
Or responsible.
Yeah. Should I pursue my artistic dreams or stick with this safe career path?
Right, exactly.
Tough choices.
Well, Sarah ended up working in a corporate job.
Okay.
And it was a good job. It was stable. She was making good money. But it wasn't feeding her soul.
Okay. Yeah, I've been there too.
And so she started praying about it.
Okay.
Asking God to show her, you know, how to use her artistic gifts in a way that would honor him and bring her joy.
Okay. I'm hooked. What happened?
Well, she felt drawn to working with children.
Okay.
And one day she had this idea to start an after-school art program.
Oh, wow.
For underprivileged kids in her community.
What a beautiful way to combine her passions and make a difference.
Right. And it wasn't easy.
I bet.
She had to face her fears, overcome logistical hurdles, learn how to balance this new venture with her existing responsibilities.
Yeah, starting anything new takes a lot of courage and commitment.
It does.
Yeah.
But she was determined to step out in faith and pursue this God-given calling.
I love that. So what was the outcome?
Well, the program was a huge success. It not only provided a creative outlet for the kids, but it also helped to boost their confidence and self-esteem.
That's so amazing.
And, it sounds like she truly found her purpose, that sweet spot where her gifts and her passions intersected with the needs of the world.
I love that. And I think what's also cool is she didn't have to just completely abandon her corporate job right away.
That's a good point.
She was able to start this art program kind of as a side hustle.
Right.
And eventually, transition to it full-time as it grew.
It was a gradual process.
Yeah, a step-by-step journey of aligning her faith and her ambition.
Exactly.
Which is what a lot of these sources were emphasizing.
Right.
It's not always about making these huge overnight changes.
It's about taking small, faithful steps, trusting God's guidance,
Okay.
and being open to new possibilities.
Love it. So what are some practical ways that we can start to uncover those God-given nudges in our own lives? I'm ready to take notes.
Well, one of the sources suggested something they called the purposeful pause. It's basically...
Oh, wait, so this purposeful pause, tell me more.
Yeah, so it's actually a really simple exercise, but it's really powerful.
Okay, I like those.
Yeah, so they recommend just taking 15 minutes a day.
Okay.
Maybe, with a cup of coffee or tea in the morning or whatever works for you. And just asking yourself 3 key questions.
Ooh, love a good, structured reflection exercise. Hit me with the questions.
Okay, so the first question is, what brought me joy today?
Okay.
And it could be anything. It could be a conversation you had, a task that you completed, a moment of beauty that you witnessed in nature.
So it's about kind of noticing those little sparks of joy throughout the day.
Exactly. And I think so often those sparks can kind of point us towards the things that truly light us up.
Yeah, the things that maybe are connected to that deeper purpose.
Right.
Okay, I'm writing this down. What's the second question?
The second question is, what drained my energy today? So this is about identifying the tasks or activities that left you feeling depleted, frustrated, or just plain blah.
So paying attention to the things that feel like energy vampires.
Yes. And again, I think this can be really insightful because it might reveal areas where you're out of alignment with your gifts.
Like when you're forcing yourself to do something that just doesn't feel right.
Exactly. And I think so often those feelings of resistance are trying to tell us something.
Yeah, this isn't for you.
This isn't for you.
Okay, I got 2 questions down. What's the final question?
The last question is, what am I curious about?
Ooh.
So I think this is about tapping into that childlike sense of wonder and exploring the things that pique your interest, even if they seem totally random or unrelated to your current path.
I love that. It's about giving ourselves permission to be curious.
Yes.
And to kind of follow those threads of interest wherever they might lead.
Exactly, because you never know. That random curiosity you have about ancient history or sustainable gardening might actually be a clue to a hidden passion or a future calling.
So this purposeful pause is about paying attention to those subtle signals, the things that bring us joy, the things that drain us, and the things that spark our curiosity.
Right. It's a way to kind of become more attuned to the whispers of God in our everyday lives. And one of the sources mentioned that as we start doing this, we might also notice certain themes or patterns emerging.
Oh, interesting. So are there any recurring themes in the things that bring us joy or the things that drain us or the things that we're curious about?
Exactly. And I think those themes can provide these valuable clues about our natural inclinations and how we're uniquely wired to make a difference.
This is making me think back to the story we talked about earlier with Sarah.
Yeah.
The artist who started that after-school art program. I bet if she had done this purposeful pause,
Totally.
she probably would notice some recurring themes around art and children and making a positive impact,
Absolutely. It's a tool for self-discovery. It's for uncovering those hidden desires and passions that might be connected to our purpose.
Okay, so we're paying attention to those God-given nudges, those sparks of joy, those energy drains, those intriguing curiosities.
Yeah.
What happens next? How do we actually start to move in the direction of our purpose?
Well, one of the sources had this really interesting analogy. They compared discovering our purpose to assembling a jigsaw puzzle.
Oh, I love a good analogy. Tell me more.
Okay, so they said it's like we're given this big box of puzzle pieces.
Okay.
Our talents, our experiences, our relationships, the resources that are available to us. But we don't have the picture on the box to guide us.
So we're kind of fumbling around in the dark, trying to figure out how all these pieces fit together.
Exactly. And it can feel really overwhelming and frustrating at times.
For sure.
But what they emphasized is that even without the picture, we can still start putting the puzzle together.
How do we do that?
Well, we can start by looking for the pieces that obviously fit together.
Okay.
So maybe we have a natural talent for writing, and we have this deep passion for social justice.
Yeah.
Those two pieces might naturally connect and lead us towards a career in advocacy journalism or something like that.
So we start by identifying those obvious connections, those natural synergies between our gifts and our passions.
Right. And as we start connecting those pieces, the bigger picture starts to emerge.
It's like those moments when you're working on a puzzle and suddenly you figure out where this whole section goes. It's so satisfying.
Exactly. And even though we might not have the complete picture yet, we can trust that God is guiding the process and helping us to piece together our purpose one step at a time.
That really resonates with me because I think it acknowledges that discovering our purpose is messy.
Yes.
It's non-linear, but there's still beauty and order in the midst of the chaos.
I think that's such a beautiful way to put it.
Thank you.
And one of the things that the source emphasized as well was that as we're working on this puzzle, it's important to remember that we're not doing it alone.
We've got God guiding us, and we've got our community supporting us.
Exactly. One of the articles talked about the importance of finding mentors and accountability partners who can offer guidance, encouragement, and a fresh perspective.
It's like having a team of puzzle enthusiasts gathered around the table, helping you sort through the pieces, offering suggestions when you get stuck.
And it really highlights the importance of community in this journey.
Because it can feel lonely and overwhelming sometimes to try to figure this all out on your own.
It really can.
So joining, faith-based groups, finding mentors, building a network of like-minded individuals, all of that can play a role in helping us kind of put the pieces together.
Absolutely. And as we surround ourselves with people who share our values and support our ambitions, we create this environment where we can truly flourish.
It's like creating this safe space to kind of explore our purpose without fear of judgment or failure.
Right. And that's so important because, let's be honest, there are going to be bumps in the road. There are going to be moments of doubt, fear, uncertainty.
Yeah, that's where those challenges we talked about earlier come in.
Totally.
The fear of failure, losing focus, the struggle to balance faith and work. What did the sources say about navigating those hurdles?
Well, when it comes to fear, one of the sources put it this way: fear is like a thief that tries to steal our potential. It can keep us playing small and prevent us from really stepping into the fullness of who God created us to be.
So how do we deal with that fear? Do we just try to ignore it?
Well, ignoring it usually doesn't work.
Yeah, that's what I found.
The sources suggest a more effective approach is to acknowledge the fear,
Okay.
but not let it dictate our actions.
So it's about recognizing that fear is normal, but it doesn't have to control us.
Exactly. And there was this really powerful quote from one of the sources that really resonated with me. It said, "Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision that something else is more important than fear."
Ooh, I like that. So it's like choosing faith over fear, even when our emotions are screaming at us to play it safe.
Exactly. And the sources offer a couple of practical tips for cultivating courage.
Okay, let's hear them.
One of them was to shift our focus from the potential for failure to the potential for impact.
So instead of dwelling on, what could go wrong, we should focus on the good that we can do.
Exactly. It's about asking ourselves, what difference could I make if I didn't let fear hold me back?
That's a great question to ponder. I think, it helps to reframe our perspective and reminds us of the bigger picture.
Right. And another tip was to break down those big, scary goals into smaller, more manageable steps.
We talked about that earlier with the puzzle analogy.
Totally.
It's about starting with those, obvious connections and building from there.
Right. And as we take those small steps and we experience those small victories, our confidence grows and fear starts to lose its grip.
It's like we're proving to ourselves that we can do hard things.
Yeah.
That we're capable of more than we think we are.
Exactly. And that leads us to the next challenge, which is losing focus.
Okay.
It's so easy to get distracted by the busyness of life and lose sight of our why.
Especially in today's world where we're just constantly bombarded with information and demands on our time,
Totally.
Like we're always on.
It's true. And a lot of the sources emphasize the importance of, creating those moments of quiet reflection, even if it's just for a few minutes each day.
Yeah.
One of them suggested something they called a morning mindset reset.
Ooh.
Oh, Okay, tell me more.
So basically, it's this short little routine
Okay.
to start your day with intention.
Mm-hmm.
The source recommended spending a few minutes in prayer,
Right.
reading a passage of scripture,
Mm-hmm.
and then journaling about your goals for the day, specifically focusing on how those goals connect to your bigger purpose.
So it's about starting the day with this clear sense of direction and purpose, rather than just kind of reacting to whatever comes our way.
Exactly. It's about proactively aligning our actions with our faith and ambitions.
Okay.
And the source suggested that doing this, even for a few minutes each morning, can really make a huge difference in how we approach the rest of our day.
It's like setting our internal compass each morning,
Yeah.
so we can stay on course throughout the day.
That's a great way to put it. And again, it doesn't have to be this long, elaborate routine.
Yeah?
Even just a few minutes of intentional reflection can be really helpful.
Okay, so we've talked about dealing with fear and staying focused. What about the challenge of balancing faith and work? I think that's something a lot of people struggle with.
It is one of the sources shared this really interesting perspective on it.
Yeah.
They said that instead of viewing faith and work as two separate compartments,
Okay.
we should see them as these integrated aspects of our lives.
So it's not about trying to find this perfect 50-50 balance between the two, but rather about finding ways to bring our faith into our work and vice versa.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that our faith should inform everything.
How we work, how we treat our colleagues, how we make decisions, and how we view success.
It's about living out our faith in all areas of our lives, not just on Sundays or in our personal time,
Right, and the sources had a couple of practical suggestions for how to do this.
Okay, I'm listening.
One of them was to find ways to serve others through our work, even in small ways.
So it could be something as simple as, offering a listening ear to a coworker who's struggling, or mentoring someone who's new to the team, or using our skills to volunteer for a cause we believe in,
Exactly. And another suggestion was to view our work as an act of worship, a way to use our God-given talents to glorify Him and make a positive impact on the world.
That's a beautiful way to look at it. It kind of shifts our perspective from just earning a paycheck to seeing our work as this meaningful contribution to something bigger than ourselves.
And it can really infuse even those mundane tasks with a sense of purpose and significance.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today, from understanding our God-given purpose
We have.
to navigating the challenges of aligning our faith and ambition as we wrap up. What's the one big takeaway you hope our listener walks away with?
I think the biggest takeaway is that faith and ambition are not mutually exclusive.
Okay.
In fact, when they're aligned,
Yeah.
they can create this really powerful force for good in the world.
It's about seeing our ambitions as gifts from God. Gifts that can be used to serve others, make a difference, and bring Him glory.
And remembering that it's a journey, not a destination.
Yeah.
There are going to be ups and downs, twists and turns.
Totally sure.
But with God's guidance and the support of our community, we can navigate those challenges and really, discover the fullness of who He created us to be.
So to our listener, keep exploring, keep seeking, keep listening for those God-given nudges. Your purpose is out there waiting to be discovered.
And remember, you are not alone on this journey.
Thank you for joining us for another deep dive.
If you like the podcast, make sure you subscribe for the next session.